Good afternoon and good morning to some people. Welcome everybody. My name is Josh Toso and thank you for tuning in again and welcome back to the Starboard Portal. Today we have a very special treat for you all. As some of you heard, Newport to Bermuda Race is doing things a little bit differently this year, and we're going to have an online race starting June 19th. To get prepped and prepared and ready for this race, we have an extra special Starboard Portal session for you today with 3 expert panelists to talk to you about the race itself, about the platform that it's going to be used, Sail Online, and about some experiences using this platform as well, and some tips and tricks to help you perform at the best of your ability. So today we have with us Summers Kempe. Summers is the vice chairman of the Newport to Bermuda Race and is also going to be the chairman in 2022. Welcome, Summers. Thank you for joining us. We have Brad Reed, who's executive director at Sail Newport, and Sail Newport has used Sail Online recently for their Quahog Cup and a couple other events, I believe, as well, too. So Brad can give you a little bit of experience from the back end side, from an organizing authority side, as well as some of the experiences that the users and players have had. And we also have a very special treat. We have Jan Vanderpaal, and he is a expert sailor and player, top ranked in Sail Online. And he is going to give you some tips and tricks to help you get the best of your Newport to Bermuda online race. And we hope that you all will join the Newport to Bermuda race. If you haven't done it before, now is your chance. It's going to be a free entry fee and you can do it from your couch. Unfortunately, you won't get to spend much time in Bermuda, but it should be a blast and we're excited to be able to see it. So we would like to hand it over to them, but before we do, I just want to let you all know that if you do enjoy today's session or any of the other sessions that we put on, please support our efforts to build a community of active, engaged sailors through the Starboard Portal by purchasing or renewing a U.S. sailing membership. We have tons and tons of great content coming up in the schedule, including this and including an official skippers meeting for the Newport to Bermuda race. Date and time TBD, but it will be before the race, obviously, and you're not going to want to miss that if you're participating. But we have that as well as a ton of other great content. And thank you to U.S. Sailing members. We are able to adapt and evolve to better serve our sailors with content like this. So please visit us at mem.ussailing.org to join or renew your U.S. Sailing membership today. And also check out the Safety at Sea online modules. Last modules 11 through 15 just got released. So you want to make sure you're safe out in the water or while you're playing online. Check that out, and it's a great product from U.S. Sailing and Safety at Sea. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Summers and let you all know as well, there is the chat feature on the right-hand side. Please let us know if you have any questions for the panelists. We will give them questions at the end of the session and let them answer your questions directly. So Summers, take it away from here.
Thanks, Josh. Welcome, everybody. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly here. And we will get started. Can everybody see that? So as Josh said, the Newport to Bermuda race is doing things a little bit differently this year, and that's thankful. That's unwell because of the COVID-19 situation globally. And it was decided that we needed to change things slightly. As soon as that decision was made, we decided that we wanted to go out and still get our competitors engaged in the sport. And it seems that with COVID-19, the sport has taken an online turn. And we were looking for a partner and a platform to use for that. So luckily enough, we ran into Brad Reed, who's used Sail Online before and their platform, and has some good things to say about it and has run some successful events using it. And the rest is, as we say, history. So June 19th, we will be starting an online race to Bermuda, the 635-mile thrash to the Onion Patch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And so let's get into a little bit of the whole program and how this is going to shake out, so to speak. The Sail Online platform was good for us because it allowed us to, with their help and some of their developers, to create a situation that looks a lot like the traditional Bermuda race with 4 different divisions. So we're going to be able to have 4 different types of sailboats, all racing to Bermuda using their polars, and skippers managing that all online. And hopefully it'll end up looking a lot like a real Bermuda race with some clumps of boats all heading slowly down to Bermuda over the 3 to 4, 5, 6 days, hopefully not longer than that. So as I said earlier, 4 different types of boats that we're going to be using. We were very lucky to get some sponsorship on board from these boat manufacturers. And the Delaware 46 is going to be our boat that we will be racing in the St. David's Lighthouse division. XP Yachts has come on board with their XP 55 in the Gibbs Hill. Italia 14.92 is their 50-footer, and that's going to be the cruising Finisterre division. And then, of course, we have the double-handed division with the Sunfast 33, which should be very exciting. So the Sail Online platform, people that have used it before, there's quite a worldwide following. We were lucky to have Jan join us today, and of course Brad. And Brad is the executive director of the Public Sailing Center in Newport, and they've used it for a number of events so far with some success. And let's just hand it over to Brad and ask him a few questions on how he's found the platform Sail Online. Brad?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Summers. I think I'm, do you want to unshare the screen right now?
Sure.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank for US Sailing for putting these on. The Starboard Portal has been very successful during this time, and really nice job to Josh and Brittany and their team at US Sailing. When this whole thing started and the pandemic became a bit of a lockdown for all of us, it was pretty obvious that people wanted to think sailing. So we looked at different aspects of the sport, what we could do, what US Sailing was doing, what other groups were doing. And I had back in the 2007, 2008, I did quite a lot of online racing with Sail Online. And that's when my brother was going around the world in Volvos, and I'd do the virtual Volvo or these things. And it was fun. It was interesting. It was a great way to lose sleep at night. But it was really fun. And I really enjoyed the Sail Online community for a bunch of reasons. Number one, it's a very easy to pick up program. The online, the sailors are super, super nice about teaching you tricks of the trade and making sure that you feel like you're part of a community of sailboat racers that really engage with each other and supply some really good racing. A big factor in Sail Newport's choosing Sail Online is it's a nonprofit as well. We're a nonprofit public sailing center. They're a nonprofit. It's run by volunteers. It's free to use. They do have a membership opportunity that many of us should take advantage of and join. But it's quite an easy thing to pick up. So when we reached out to Rob Nielsen, who's in Australia, and their volunteers are all around the planet. So Rob really worked with us to create a 3-race series.
In the background.
And the first was the Quahog Cup, which is, if you've ever been to Rhode Island, you know what a quahog is. It's a little clam. Actually, it's a fairly big clam, and it's very popular. It's a delicacy around these parts. So we called it the Quahog Cup, a race around Narragansett Bay in mum-30s. Followed by a longer race. We did what's called the Bartholomew Gosnold Memorial, which is a race around Nantucket, the Vineyard, Nantucket, and through the Elizabeth Islands. And then the third race, which is going to be a specific practice for the Newport to Bermuda race, will be a timed race. And the race will be open for a week starting on June 9th. And it'll go from Newport around Block Island, around Fisher's Island. Don't worry about the rocks. You won't be able to hit any rocks. And then back to Newport. And it's a timed race. You can choose any time to do it. You can pick, you could wait for the weather to get good and do a run at it. And you can do it multiple times throughout the week. And you can use it for training for the Bermuda race. And for that race, we've chosen the polars, the boat polars of a Ulteam trimaran. So 75-mile race, the polars say you can go 35 to 40 knots. Should be able to do it in 2 hours if you play your cards right. So it should be really fun. And And I'd like to thank Jan and his group again, because it's supplied a lot of new people through the Sail Newport series the opportunity to do some e-racing, and it's been great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Brad. Yeah, no, the practice racing sounds like it's going to be a great time, and you might just have to tell your significant other that you're taking a few hours off at the golf course or something, and just go play online in the car.
It's very important.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen again, just so that we can get a little idea of what the website looks like at Sail Online. And currently, before we go to Jan to give us a little bit more in-depth look, we're just going to look at the front page. And obviously, the screenshot was taken a while ago, but the races are listed down the right-hand side. And once you get a login and a username, password, then you'd be able to join those races. So let's look, skipping over to the Newport to Bermuda side. So to be eligible for prizes for the online Newport to Bermuda race, we will be looking for people who to come to our site, bermudarace.com, and sign up and register with us. And the most important thing is that you register and include your Sail Online username. So we would be taking your skipper's name, the email that you want to use for any communications that we'll send you. We're trying to see whether or not you've been affected by the 2020 cancellation. And then, of course, the most important thing is the Sail Online username that you're going to be using to log into their site. Now, if you've never used Sail Online before, you need to go to sailonline.org first and register and create a username. And we're encouraging people, it's not necessary, but if you possibly are entered or were entered in the 2020 race, to use your boat name and maybe your last name as well. So if there's a number of people on your boat that may be going to be doing the online race, maybe the navigator on your boat's going to do it, and the skipper and a couple of crew members want to all race under that boat name, just append your last name and take it away. Then you're going to need to tell us what division you want to compete in. And that's going to need to be, when you log into the Sail Online website to race, you're going to need to actually pick the same boat to do the race in. And then there's a couple other things that we're just looking for. It's nothing too crazy. Of course, I think at the moment now, there's 60 entries into the race. This was just a screenshot taken a while ago. And as you can see, we have the entry list is growing. So, Sail Online. Of course, Brad did mention earlier about the Quahog Cup, and it sounded like that was a good race to be part of. And also, he also mentioned that there will be a practice series, a practice race, which you can do as many times as you want, going around Fisher's Island and such. So when on the bermudarace.com site, you can click on the link to go sign up for Sail Online username. You enter your email address and click send email validation code, and they will send you an email and then guide you the rest of the way through how to sign up and create a user account on Sail Online. So now I'm going to hand it over to Jan. Jan, you can see my screen. You just let me know when you want me to advance or what, and take it away.
Yeah, okay. Is my head moving? Slow, camera is slow. Hi, everybody. So yeah, I've been online sailing now for, must be 15 years, but I also sail in real life. But that's not the case with everybody who sails online. And sailing in real life doesn't really give you that much of an advantage. You do understand what a polar is and what upwind and downwind is and optimum angles, but there's guys out there who've never sailed who understood all that as well. It's just a question of who's smartest. So my first slide is called logging in, and Summers has just gone through that briefly. I have it a little bit more in detail. So the first thing to do is if you go to the site and for some extraordinary reason somebody has logged in before you on your machine, then you log out by clicking on log out. After that, then the login thing goes blank, and you click on register new account. Okay, which gives you a message, and the message is center top, I guess. Please enter your email address. So you do that, and then you click send email validation code, and we send you an email validation code to your email address. It looks like the message below, admin@saleonline.org, and you have to click then to continue registration. Please follow this link. Click the whole lot of it. Don't think there's another link below it or something. That's the link. Click it. Okay. And once you've done that, then another screen comes up where it asks you to give a username and an email address. Now, the username is going to be the name of your boat. Okay, so think about that for a second before you plop in anything, because you'll be sailing under that name for the rest of the days, unless you send us an email to ask us to change it, which we can do, but it's a little bit of hassle. So get a good name, like Boaty McBoatface, maybe. And then confirm your email address, and then select a password and verify the password. And alas, we don't have any way of clicking a little icon so that you can see what you typed into your password. You'll just have to remember it. But the plus is that you can write a really simple password. Anything will do. We don't have any complicated checkers that require at least 8 numbers or 8 alphanumeric characters, and some of them in caps and all the rest of it. Any password. And then you verify it, and then you register. Yeah. That's it. Then basically you have your name and you have your password. And don't forget your, I didn't mention that, but your boat name, username is case sensitive. So if you've used caps in it, remember where the caps were, and don't put any blanks in. Use an underscore if you want to have a blank, and don't use any special characters. So that won't work either. Sorry about all that. Okay. Now, then you go to the login area where you can select a race. And the first time you select a race, you get the opportunity to select a country that you reside in or that you want to represent. And the default is the first one in the alphabet. It's Afghanistan. And I can imagine that American sailors don't necessarily want to race for Afghanistan, so you'd be well off to just scroll down and pick the United States of America or somewhere else if your forefathers were from across the seas and you like to remember that when you're racing. Okay, that's it. Let's go to the next slide, Summers.
Okay.
Okay, so you're in your race, and on the left, top left, there are 5 hot buttons. And they're really straightforward. The top one is plus, which is for make it bigger. And if you click it, you zoom in a bit. And if you Alt click on it, so press the Alt key and click on it, you go to as big as it can be. And that's quite big. Ideally, you'd want to have it bigger still if you're awfully serious about it, but it's still very big. And minus does the same around. And then if you don't know where your boat is anymore, click on the little thing and it takes you to your boat and enters the whole screen on your boat. Next slide. This is a typical picture. It's my internet connection is unstable. So never mind. And bottom there is a device, a slider, and a whole bunch of information. The information that you're looking at long, speed, course, etc., It doesn't show all that straight. If you want to get that, you have to alt click on it a couple of times, and it goes through various options. So it goes from an option with a few pieces of information showing you to an option where there's a few more pieces of information going to this particular option, which I like. Look, I don't really need the lat long, but what I do need is the MC. Okay, at the moment everything is slow because my boat is parked in Newport, and we're not racing yet. So this little triangular thing on a slider, you click on that, and then you can pull it along the page, and that changes the weather in the screen to what it's going to be in 30 days' time. And it's completely German Stufenlos. You know, you by the minute, by the second, whatever you like. And I've circled it down the bottom. It shows you what time and what day you're looking at now. Okay, so yeah, that's the weather, and usually that's all based on global GFS, which we get from NOAA, the mighty US weather and atmospheric service. But in the Newport Bermuda Race, we're going to use NAM AWIP, NAM AWIP, I call it, which is specific to North America, and has a resolution and has more local effects built in, more than the simple optics that global GFS has. Okay, next slide. Oh, are you with me so far? Okay, so on the right-hand side of your screen, there is a column, and the column has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs showing, and the tab far right is a question mark on it, which takes you to helpful links, they call it, well, they're links anyway, and to options. And one of the helpful links, by the way, is the manual. So that's a long document, and if you have time, it's definitely worth reading. On the other hand, you can usually get by just asking questions in chat, and chat is the tab second from right, fourth from left, with a little, you know, chat boxy thing in it, and you type something in there, and before you know it, we go back one, Somers. I'm not quite finished. And before you know it, somebody will give you an answer. Okay, but then as well, there is a thing called options. You click on that, and the screen to the right comes up, and you have a couple of options that you can check there by checking the checkbox or unchecking the checkbox. So there's a weather notify sound, which is if you're away from your computer, but it's standing somewhere in the distance. If there's new weather, if there's a new forecast, the forecasts come every 6 hours, then you'll get a big sort of sound of a storm. It's as well to leave that on unless you don't want to wake your wife in the middle of the night. The other one there is the highlight race leader, which is ticked, and that shows you where the guy who is nearest to the next waypoint is at that moment, and also his track. And it can be interesting to have that on, but it can also be useful to switch it off, because his track might be interfering with your track, and you don't quite, in terms of visuals, and it's just confusing you, so you get rid of it. Then there's one that says enable both predictors. You need to keep that ticked, and I'll explain why later. And then there's great circle mode, and it's best to keep that ticked as well, especially for ocean races, because then it's giving you bearings and distances on a great circle rather than a rhumb line. So correct instead of nonsense. Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Okay, Jen, let me just stop you there. We just want to go back to the weather slider page, because you're breaking out quite a bit on that, and there were some people that really interested in this slide here. Can you just go through that again?
Okay, so there's a slider at the bottom. Okay, and I've shown with move slider little triangle, and you can click on that and move it up and down. And as you move it, well done. And as you move it, the weather that is shown in the chart changes to what the weather is going to be at that time, or that time, or that time. And to know exactly what time we're talking about, what I've circled is what you're looking at. So in this case, Sunday at 10 UTC in 2 days and 19.3 hours time from when the weather forecast was issued, which was on Thursday, 16:15. That's it. I mentioned the weather. We know races global GFS, NOAA, but for this particular race, we're going to use NAM, AWIP, NAM AWIP, which is also from NOAA, but has resolution and more local effects and stuff built in to the forecasting. Did that work better now? Okay, it says internet.
Yeah. How about
yeah?
Yeah, I think that mostly came through. So why don't we just we'll skip ahead a couple slides and if we go back and redo something.
Yeah, maybe I could try and you're finding me in Tipperary in the south of Ireland, and there's one of the many things about this country that is not quite sorted is high-speed broadband. So maybe that's not helping. I could switch to doing it via my phone, but I don't think it'll be any better. So let's persevere. If it gets really bad, we can try and change something. Okay, so then the next thing is how to do your boat. And there's a commander again on the right hand side. The first tab, there's a little steering wheel on it, and click on that, and then you see 3 lines. One says COG, course over the ground, or compass course, whatever you want to call it. The next one says TWA, and then the last one says delay. So you type in a course you want to sail, or an angle to the wind that you want to keep constant, and a delay or no delay, all right? And the delay is in hours. I'm told that you can there are various formats, other formats that you can use instead of just a plain old number. But I've always just put in a number in hours and fractions of an hour. And then you click set boat course. So if there's nothing there, then your course will change immediately. If there is a delay, then it'll change after that delay. If you want to see what delay you've set, you go to the tab with a little clock icon on top of it, and it'll appear in a list. There may be more of them. You may have entered some others already. And if you're not sure whether it's right, if you click the little refresh, that's the green arrow going one way and green arrow going the other way thingy, then it'll refresh it, and you'll be sure that these are the DCs, as we call them, the delayed commands that you've entered. Okay, so you might want to edit it, and if so, then you click the edit. You first of all, you highlight it, then you click the edit button, and the screen bottom right comes up, and basically you just type in the change to make, but obviously you have to keep the formatting correct. If you mess up on the formatting, if you don't have a code between the bits, or using DAC instead of slopey.
Dan, you're breaking up again. Can we just try and turn your video off? If you want to go down into the bottom left of your chat.
Oh, yeah.
Just turn the video off. Okay, that should probably help with your audio.
Help a lot, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so why don't we just start back up at the green refresh button and what that does to the list of delayed commands.
Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at a list of DCs. We've Ent1. DC stands for delayed command. There aren't any others, or your listing is behind in terms of in terms of what you're looking at. You click the two little green arrows, and that refreshes it. If you don't like the timing of it or the angle that you've decided, or you think it should be a CC rather than a TWA, hit edit. And that then takes you to the screen that is shown bottom right. And in there, you can simply type in changes and switch from COG to TWA. And the only thing is you have to remember to keep the formatting exactly as shown. So colons in between the bits of time and slashes in between the bits of date. Did that go better?
Yeah, sounds a little bit better, yeah.
Okay. Next one, Summers.
There we go.
Okay, so we saw in a couple of slides earlier there were 5 buttons in total. Dealt with the first 3, so the last 2 is a thing that looks like a steering wheel. It looks suspiciously like the steering wheel that is in the tabs first left, and it is in fact the same thing. You click it to activate a steering tool, which creates a red pointer, and you drag that pointer around to get the right angle, which will then show in your polar diagram and also up top in your compass course, in your COG, or in your TWA. If you have the TWA press, it'll show as a TWA. And then you just select that. So that gives you a chance to just sort of see where will this go, where will that go, and you know, what sort of angle is that, and you know, that's okay. Give it a click, and then click set boat course, and away you go on that particular course. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that's good.
Next one. Okay, this is easier to explain. There's a box around the racing area. It's a boundary, and you can't go beyond it. If you try, you shipwreck on the boundary. So it's not like the Vikings who just sailed over the edge of the world. You just hit and you go head to wind, and you stay head to wind until you interfere with that via the command or via the steering wheel and reset course. Exactly the same happens if you hit a coast, and I've shown a boat hitting the coast after the Newport start, and again it's just gone head to wind, and again you just need to go to your commander and select a course, and it'll sail away again. But if you don't do anything, it'll be there for hours. Okay. It'll never move. Cheers. Next one.
Yeah, predictor.
Okay, the predictor. So I mentioned to select both predictors, and you can see a predictor line on your left. You'll in fact see 2. One is a dark shade of what do we call that? Magenta, isn't it? And the other is a faded shade magenta. At the moment, the dark shade is the where you'll end up if you stay on a compass on a COG or a CC. On a COG, we might as well call it, on a direct course, and it's split up into hours and 15-minute segments. So the little circles. The bigger circles are every hour, and then the little dots in between is every 15 minutes. And it goes out for 6 hours. And that's accurate. That is where you will be. And similarly, the faint line is if you're on TWA. that's where you're going to end up if you stay on a constant angle to the wind. So you can see at the moment when I did that, the weather was very steady coming out of Newport. And it was, when the wind wasn't shifting much, and it was slackening, I think it was. And you can kind of gauge that. So yeah, so the dark shade, as I said, is COG, and the light shade is TWA. But it can also be the other way around. It just depends what you've selected in your commander. If you're on TWA at the time, then the TWA course will be the dark course, and the light one will be if you were on COG. Okay. Then there's also a yellow dot. So in your commander, if you put in some sort of a time there, it'll show that yellow dot will be where you are after that time. And what I tend to do is I put in 0.017, which is exactly 1 minute. Is the shortest time interval it'll show. If you put in 0.01, then the dot is simply on top of your boat. So 0.017, the dot is 1 minute ahead. And obviously in ocean races, that doesn't matter a jot. But if you're doing short, sprinty type of races, and we have quite a few of them, then that's quite a handy thing to look at to judge how close you are to a headland that you want to round tightly, or a buoy, even worse, a buoy, where you miss it and then you have to go back. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this is about missing buoys. So you can round it, you can wrong it, and if you round it, then you will get a message on screen which says round it. And if it doesn't say that, then you haven't rounded, and you'll for that to finish start increase. And your only solution is go back and unwind yourself and make sure you round it properly. That's all. Simple business. A lot of people. I might add that the trace that you see can be out. That has to do with communications between the server where the game runs and wherever you are, and it takes a while to correct. You might think that you've rounded, but in fact missed it. And the only way to be sure whether you've rounded it is to check to say round. Okay, next one.
Okay.
Okay, so we use can't remember what they're called. Doesn't matter. Some 4 or 5 letter abbreviation type of files, and they are of different. If you're zoomed out, then you don't see all the detail, and if you zoom in, you get more. So you need to zoom in to see all the detail of all the corners if you're approaching land and you want to make sure you don't hit it. That's all on that. You can see again, somebody has actually had to go at the Bermuda race and has crossed the finish line and has moved on again. They rounded everything. So he's a very eager beaver. Wasn't me. Next.
Oh. Sorry. So I think we're going to go.
Yes. So which one? This is the XP. Yeah. Okay, that was a lovely picture of X Yachts XP. This is the Data 46. I'm trying to remember who owns them these days. So yeah, 46 polar. Okay. So a couple about our programs. Undoubtedly familiar with polars as well. But one of the unusual things about propellers is that everything is best possible sail. So you don't have to worry about sail choices. And because of that, also the hull is completely smooth. So the interpolation just smoothly takes you from one sail to. So sometimes, or all times, the dips, you go into the dip smoothly. Nevertheless, there are dips in the polars, and all these four yachts that we're racing have small dips where sort of between somewhere around 100 degrees true wind angle, 120 or 130, and it can be that therefore it's not a good idea to sail in the dip. You have to figure out, should I sail 100 or 105, and in this case, and 115 or 112 or 113 on the other side. And you can compare that to sail changes in real life. In other words, you're sailing with one sail that's better for, wind abeam, and then you change to another sail that's better for wind slightly astern. And in between, you just don't have the sail, and you're going to mess. So you don't sail at that angle.
Can I hop in here a second?
Yeah.
So this feature is really, really good for the real Bermuda Race sailor, people who do a lot of ocean racing, because these little hollows, the little dips in the polar curves, they make a huge difference in your strategy and then your tactics. So as you're thinking about, do you want to, go closer to the edge, the left edge of the high, or you want to go to the right edge of the high, or the ridge is coming in, you gotta pick those polar angles just right to try to get, kind of a jump on the people around you. And if you stay in one of those divots, I call them the divots, for too long, you're going to get smoked on either side of you.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Brad. And one thing to be mindful of is that these polar diagrams, if you see a straight line going across, that's also a dip, right? Because the only thing that's not a dip is something that's actually on the circle or far side of the circle. But if it's a straight line, it's still a dip. Now, it may be that it's not enough of a dip to make a difference, but often it can be. And sometimes, I don't with any of these yachts, but sometimes the difference is absolutely colossal. At the moment, you're talking maybe about 1% of an advantage for avoiding the dip. But 1% is all you need to win the race.
So
0.1 is enough.
Yeah, and do you think that, I've done a bunch of races in kind of slowish boats and some with TP52 style characteristics. It's really important to figure out in those days before the Bermuda Race, when it's open, to go out and do some sailing with the boats, to really see those performance characteristics as they're happening. Do you find yourself in different kinds of boats going for pressure more than angle? Because sometimes the angle means more than the actual pressure when you're sailing from weather system to weather system.
Yeah, that does happen. There are some of the very fast boats where pressure is more important. But I suppose the rule of thumb is angle beats pressure. That'd be the rule of thumb you'd have in your mind always. But yeah, it can happen, and you can also find yourself sailing on the outside of an inside lift because there's more pressure there, and you think you should be in, but the pressure in there is just not good enough, and so you go around the outside, and it's faster.
And maybe once we get through these slides, when I can share my screen and actually show people what the chart looks like and everything, we can see that actually live.
Okay, so yeah, good. So I drew two other. So I drew that line to show what we in Sol speak call a hopping opportunity, and then I drew two horizontal lines, one that touches one of the polar curves tangentially in the upwind area, and one that touches it in the downwind area, and that's a sort of that's the perfect seat of the pants way of figuring out what's your optimum angle. Obviously, you can also go and calculate it with the cosine rule, but if you're not into that, and that's a good way to judge it. And I say in general, especially in these bigger long distance races, it rarely pays to pinch the thing at optimum angle. It's nearly always best to sail a couple of degrees off into in bend. I wouldn't call them shifts. Sort of oscillating wind. We do have wind bends all the time, and there's always going to be a wind bend that you want to go into, and then you can, you might well sail degrees, 15 degrees off the optimum wind angle to just get into it, Steve Benjamin style, if I might say. So in this particular boat, 47, as an example, it looks like the best angle is 6 knots going upwind and 175. So basically flat, so straight down in 20 knots. Okay, let's have a look at the next one.
So this is the XP. I believe this is in the Gibbs Hill division.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I've drawn the 3 lines, and this XP also can sail very deep downwind. Don't really like that sort of thing. The one thing about boats that sail deep downwind is that, yeah, okay, 175 is the best angle, but look, if you're at 170, you're hardly going downwind any slower, but you're going a lot faster. So very often you find yourself rarely sailing those angles either, because you want to get over to more wind. And the upwind angle here is around 40, and there's a dip at around 120. That's it. Next one.
This is the double-handed.
Yeah. Okay. So this boat, yeah, also has at 20 knots some deep angles, but obviously you can see that when it gets really breezy, she absolutely flies. At 150 and maybe 153 or so is the deepest you should go. Yeah, there's very little more to be said about these. Next one. Yeah, I was surprised with this craft. Is quite speedy. Is it actually faster than the XP? I wasn't sure. Anyway, look, there's dips and there's tangents, and yeah, there you go. I haven't any more slides, but obviously to compete at the top, you need to do a lot more than just eyeball polars. So what we all do is we use routers, and different people use different ones, but most of us use a product called QTVLM, which you can download. And then once you have it downloaded, you can load the polar into it, and you can load the weather forecast into it. You can get them from other sites that are associated with us, being developed by other sail onliners over the years. And then the router will give you a very good idea of where you should sail. And then it sort of becomes a game of outguessing the router, which isn't really outguessing the router, it's outguessing the weather forecasters. And weather forecasters obviously have a big, huge computer, and they're all buttons. So it's sometimes quite baffling that we think we can guess the weather forecasters, but somebody always does and does better. So that's the game.
Okay.
Right, that's me.
Brad, did you
I
have
hope that was useful.
Hang on a sec. Yeah. So yeah, these are really good tips. Summers, do you mind if I just share my screen just for a second? Can you hear me?
Yeah. There you go. Should be sharing.
Yeah. So So this is what a screen, the screen looks like on a real race. I've actually registered for a small sprint race, which is in Estonia. And basically this race is going to be a good practice race for anyone who wants to go online because it's a lot of roundings. And one of the things about Sail Online is you have to get good at your island roundings. Otherwise you're in a barbecue on the land or you give up valuable meters. And when I say meters, in these races, these short races are 5 seconds, 10 seconds between first and third. Sometimes the folks are so good. It's pretty amazing. So, so to use this screen as kind of a live way, way to look at this, I'm going to hit the steering, which is over here, and it gives you an arrow. And you simply put the arrow out to where you want to go. You want to go to the northwest corner of this island. You hit the arrow. It creates a cog and a true wind angle for you. And then you hit basically set boat course. Now you can set cog or true wind angle. If you hit true wind angle, you're going with that angle. Whatever the wind shifts, you're going to stay at 115 degree true wind angle. So this is your basic steering component, is the steer. As he was talking about, you can delay a course adjustment. You can print in 5 degrees difference, or you can go up 5 degrees, 4 degrees, delay for 1.00 hours. And you can see the orange dot. The orange dot is down here. If you change that back to 0.75, I think you have to put the 0 in front of it. I always make that mistake. It moves the yellow dot, closer. So these are the things that you're going to have to test. And you'll see that in this case, in the polar diagram, you can see your dot. That's where you're living right now. That's 115 or 115 degree true wind angle, and or 112 degree true wind angle, and we're at 93% performance because we've just started this leg. But go on, use it, have fun with it, use the chat function. Everyone on there is super nice, even to us, Americans. So it's a great international group out there, and I find it just highly, highly entertaining. And sometimes politics does kind of sneak into it every once in a while. When they see a bunch of American flags, they're saying, "What the hell's going on over there?" But this is going to be a blast. It's going to be really fun for people. Use the settings function. One thing I do want to show people, especially for you navigators out there, is when you go to settings, you can do things on here like you can choose barbs. Like some of you are used to seeing barbs on a weather map. You can do that. You can, this is one of the most important things you can do, is put the quick access buttons for true wind direction and true wind speed. So if you are on your main page, I keep having to move these pictures, you can hit the true wind speed button and you can see all over the place on the barbs or on the arrows what your true wind speed is, or what your true wind direction is, or just the true wind direction. So it really allows you some micro, looking at it in a micro scale. And it is surprising. A little bit of leverage goes a long, long, long way in big gains or big losses in this thing. So.
You might add to that Brad is showing us what is called the HTML5 interface, client interface, and I was using the old interface, which is Flash based. I guess I was doing that because I'm a Luddite, so I tend to not, change until I have to. But I'm seeing here that HTML5 has a lot more functionality, a lot more little extra thingies that the Flash client doesn't have.
And for those of you who are on Mac devices, specifically, iPads are a little twitchy. iPads are harder to use. A MacBook or MacBook Pro works really well. But if you're in a PC world, if you're using a regular HP or a Dell or something like that, you want to go with the Flash version, right, Jan?
Well, for the moment, but it's only going to last for another 6 months or so, and then the browsers are going to stop supporting it. So they say. Don't know exactly what that means, but I think it means death.
Yep. So anyway, so this is a little graphic representation of what a real boat race is going on, and this is actually a practice session for this race. I think I'm committed to doing this one now, so we'll see you all out there.
See you tomorrow, Brad.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stop doing that. How do I stop? Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. Stop share. Okay, it's all yours, Summers.
Great. So just going to finish off just mentioning the prizes. Goslings has come on board and is offering some prize packs. Am I sharing this screen yet? It doesn't look like I am. Now we can all see the dark and stormies, right? So we will be holding a prize giving on Saturday, June 27th, probably the same time that we would be holding a prize giving normally at Government House in Bermuda. And you can all dial into that, and we'll provide more details on that on bermudarace.com, probably during the race. So I have been asked to go through and try and explain a little bit more and a little bit better how to register for the race. So let me just try and share this screen. So this is the Newport to Bermuda Race website. Let me just clean that up. And can everybody see that? And the page for the race, if we go to the home page, there's a nice big button, register for online race, or go to the online race on the left. When you click that, you'll be brought to this page, which is going to give you the overview and all the other things to look at. So giving just a little bit of overview, and then as we saw earlier, how it works. If you don't have a Sail Online username yet, we want you to click on this link, which will then take you to the Sail Online page, which Jan gave an example of, enter your email address. They will send you a confirmation email and you follow the instructions there. And then of course, you can be logged in to their site. These are the races that are currently going on. I believe Jan is currently taking part in the Migaloo migration race. And of course, new HTML client or the go-to race takes you to the Flash side of things. I won't go into the race as of yet. Now, of course, if you want to just sign up online for Sail Online and create a user account, that's fine. We do want you to come back here and sign up with us so that we know that you're taking part, and of course, recognized for winning some prizes. So you come back here and you fill in this form, and don't forget to use your username for Sail Online. My name is Smokin', and what type of boat you're going to enter in. Hit submit, and then you should show up in this list. And it looks like currently we have 60 entries so far. Now, I'm not sure whether we're going to get any questions from anyone else. Josh, did we have any questions from the chat that we need to spend some time answering?
No, I don't think we have any questions in the chat. We kind of went through everything there. I would say it was really informative, and thank you, Brad, for kind of taking us through some of that as well there too. And I would say maybe we'll have Jan try to record through a couple of those slides, the weather slide and another slide. It was a little choppy there, but I think it was a lot of really great information. And we'll try to have him kind of record that through and put up a link on it on the Newport Bermuda Race website for a little resource there afterwards. But I don't think we have any questions. Anything last to say, add there, Summers, from your side?
Just want to thank you guys at US Sailing for hosting this for us, and thank Brad and Jen come on and say their things and help out the sailing community like you guys do all the time. So, and looking forward to June 19th. It won't be quite the same, but hopefully everybody comes on and has a good time.
Yeah, could I just say one thing then as well?
Sure thing, Jan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, first of all, for having me on your show, as they say. Just a little bit of PR for Sail Online. For the princely sum of $35, you can become a member of the Sail Online Yacht Club, and that will mean you will be ranked in our various annual and quarterly series. So we race ocean races, 12 a year, so one a month roughly, obviously. We race sprints, we do 16 of them, and we race timed races, we do 8 of them in a year, and then we have what's called the Sail Online Yacht Club Cup, which again is 12 races. And the ocean races will take you like 3 weeks. The sprints will take you 3 hours. The timed races will preoccupy you for as long as you're allowed to sail, wondering when's the right time to start, and then starting and discovering that maybe you should have waited after all. And then the SYC Cup races are typically 3 or 4 days long, and are in many ways the most straightforward. So if you get hooked, $35. You're competing against the best in class.
You will get hooked.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity, especially here. We really have a tough time not getting out in the water. And I know everyone's itching out to get out there, and we hope we all do sometime this summer. But it's a great opportunity to try out online racing. And, if you haven't tried the Newport to Bermuda race before, this is a great time to be able to do it. Entry fee is free for the Newport to Bermuda race. And as Jan said, sign up for Sail Online, and you're buying a boat. You have all these options to be able to participate in online racing all across the globe from your couch. It's really a great time. So, and what's the website we can go to for the Newport Bermuda race? Bermuda Race Online, BermudaRace.com.
Yeah.
And BermudaRace.com /online. Is that the direct webpage?
It's BermudaRace.com/online race.
I should mention, if you don't pay the $35, you can still race, which just won't get ranked in the annual series. Okay, and the more we see, the more we like it.
Oh,
so thank you very much again for having us.
I'm sure you all get hooked once you go, and stay tuned for the official Newport to Bermuda Skippers meeting, only on the Starboard portal. That'll happen date and time TBD, but definitely before June 19th. Which is the start of the race. Registration opens June 11th at BermudaRace.com /online race. And
what time of day are you going to start the race, Summers?
Good question.
1 p.m. Eastern. So same as the usual time that everyone congregates at.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one for the Australians. Oof.
Before we get going, I'd like to know just really quickly, as I think we do have some other people tuning in that aren't necessarily for the Newport Bermuda race. Maybe they'll join in, but maybe haven't played before. Brad, you've played before. How do you work? I know there's a bunch of different classes. There's a double-handed class there as well, too, right? So, how do you do that? Do you have to switch off in the middle of the night?
I don't think you have to, but I know that if my brother Kenny decides he's going to do this in the double-handed division, I'm doing it in the double-handed division because he has yet to beat me in a Sail Online race. So that's not gonna start.
And how do you sign up, just real quickly? I think one question that came in is, how do you sign up multiple crew under your
that is a question
name?
I have too.
So if you're putting your boat name in, right? How do you sign up multiple crew within that?
So Yeah.
Well, you want various people to be able to steer your boat. You just share your password between all of you. So one password will get you in, and you give it to your mate, you give it to another mate, and yeah, we call that boat sitting. And in theory, have rules about how much of that is allowed, but you know, that's the way to do it.
Can only one person be logged in at a time?
No. If you are both if you've both entered the password, you can both steer the boat at the same time. So whoever steered it last is to blame.
It's kind of like having two wheels.
Yeah, 5 if you want.
Double rudders.
Yeah.
And ideally, your other crew member is in Australia, so you can sleep at night.
Exactly. That's
Absolutely.
key.
Yeah.
That is key.
Exactly. Or on the west coast of the United States, also useful. Yeah.
Well, I think that we're all looking forward to seeing how this works with the online on Newport to Bermuda Race, and we're really excited for it. Guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, again, go on over to bermudarace.com and check out all different options. And we hope to see you at Skipper's meeting and on the race course starting June 19th. And again, thank you all for joining us here today on the Starboard Portal. If you enjoyed today's session or any of the other sessions we put on, please again support our efforts to build an active community of active engaged sailors through the Starboard Portal by purchasing and renewing U.S. Sailing membership. We have a lot of great content, including the Skipper's meeting coming up, and stay tuned to find out when that is. And thanks to U.S. Sailing members, we're able to do this and evolve to better serve sailors online. Visit us at mem.ussailing.org to join and renew today. And again, thank you for joining us. I hope you all have a great weekend. Get out there and sail safely.
Thanks, Josh.
Bye.
Cheerio.